Hi, hello. Now, in the previous episodes, we discussed all about polynomials. Essentially, the degree of the polynomial is 2. We have derived a quadratic polynomial, and then by solving it when it is equated to 0, we essentially extract the root from a quadratic equation. Now, there are several ways to solve a quadratic equation. In the last episode, I've shown you that we can do it through factoring, which is an efficient way in order for us to extract the roots of the quadratic equation. Now, this time, we want to have another alternative form of a solution. This time, we want to complete the square. Essentially, the method is completing the square. Now, let me discuss to you the method of completing the square. Now, here in my note, let me discuss the second method, which is completing the square. And as with the previous episodes, we consult an example from the AI ChatGPT. Here he has an example here, which is x squared plus 6x plus 5 equals 0. Now all we need to do is we have to move the constant, essentially the c. Okay, so by the way, we assume that this is 1, so that's essentially our a. This is our b, which is 6, and our 5 is c. So we move the 5 in the other side, so essentially we have x squared plus 6x equals negative 5, just as ChatGPT shows us here in the second line. Now the trick here in step 2 is to add, well, it's 6 over 2 squared. Well, 6 over 2 squared, that's essentially 3 squared or 9. Now, why are we doing that? I'll show you later. But the key thing is, in step 2, don't forget that the format, we have to add this term in both sides, b over 2a. So here, our b is essentially 6, and our a is essentially 1. Okay, so this turns out to be 3, and don't forget to square. Okay, square the term when you add it. So if we square the term, that's plus 9. Okay, now the reason for that is this term now becomes a perfect square. Can you see it? Well, let's try to see. Okay, again, we can express this one as x plus 3 square equals, well, this becomes minus 5 plus 9 is essentially 4. Now, if we try to provide a check so that you could see, okay, we expand x plus 3, okay, and as you can see, we can multiply x here, so it results to an x squared plus 3x, and this one is a 3x, and 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so essentially we recover the original equation, which is x squared plus 6x plus 9. So this term is exactly this term. So that's the reason why we're adding this term, the b over 2a. We add that to both sides so that the resulting equation now becomes a perfect square, and we can express it to a form like this, a binomial that is squared. In this case, x plus 3 squared, which is equivalent now to 4. Now, to proceed with the solution, let's try now. X plus 3 square equals 4. All we need to do is to take the square root of both sides. And this is essentially plus minus 2. And this one is x plus 3. And all we need to do now is transpose 3 in the other side. So we have x equals, the solution is minus 3 plus 2, and the other one is minus 3 minus 2, which means that our x is minus 3 plus 2 is minus 1, and the other one is minus 3 minus 2 is minus 5. And this is now the solution. Now, well, we can provide a check to be sure. Well, according to ChatGPT, his solution is indeed minus 1 and minus 5. But we want to be sure that everything is working well. So we can provide a check. Now we rewrite the equation again. So that is x squared plus 6x plus 5 equals 0. For the first root, so that's negative 1. All we need to do is to substitute it back to the equation. Negative 1 squared plus 6 multiplied by negative 1 plus 5. And this is 1 minus 6 plus 5 equals 0. So immediately you see that this is true. Minus 5 plus 5 is indeed 0. And how about for the second root? We just want to be sure that everything is working fine. That's why we provide a check. So write again the equation. And this serves as a very good exercise for you to practice your algebra. Simply by substituting or plugging in the value, negative 5, and then squaring it, plus 6 multiplied by negative 5 plus 5 equals 0. Now this one is 25, and the other one is 6 times 5 is 30, plus 5 equals 0. So this one is negative 5, so we add it to 5, and that is indeed 0. So we have verified that the solution is correct, negative 1 and negative 5. Now, don't forget again, let's have a review. Don't forget that the magic here is add b over 2a to both sides. But again, don't forget to square it when you add it to both sides. Now, that's essentially it. That's the method of completing the square. Now, in the next episode, we will discuss all about the quadratic formula. Again, the quadratic formula is another alternative way to solve a quadratic equation. But for now, that's all, and thank you.